Hello, everyone. I'm Adam with Demiplane. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. Those questions can be asked starting now. All you got to do in Twitch chat is type the word question and follow that with the question itself, and our magical Demi bot will be collecting them all along the way, and I will get to as many as I have time for at the end of our show. Last week, we had a supersized stream that I clocked in at, I think, possibly a little over an hour, and we normally try to do 30 minutes. We'll see how that goes today. We should have more time for questions today, so don't be shy about asking them, and I will try to rapid fire as much as I can at the end of the show. On the agenda, as always, we're going to talk about what our latest updates are. We are going to talk about what is on the roadmap and what is on deck for us from a development perspective. But also, we have a giveaway today of a Vampire the Masquerade Nexus Ultimate Bundle. So this is going to include everything that is currently released on Vampire Nexus. We love World of Darkness, and we love having the Nexus available to us. I was literally looking up something yesterday. I had to I went to an opening of a local restaurant that I've been looking forward to for a while, and for whatever reason, the conversation went toward World of Darkness, as it does. And I wanted to look something up, and so I jumped on the phone and found it right there. So all of that is going to be available, and you can win an ultimate bundle today here. So pay attention to all the prompts in chat for that, and good luck on it. So let's jump right in. Latest updates on the platform level. I mentioned this last week. We are working on federated login, and that is simply just a way to log into Demiplane using Google, Facebook, Twitch. There could be others added over time. If you have other preferences, let us know. But this is something that we are working on that should come out pretty soon here. Pathfinder Nexus in early access. We had a little bit of a snafu last week, and it was a completely honest mistake, and we were just very eager to get these books out. But it's not actually, last week was not the release date. So just to let everybody know, we have a lot of checks and balances in place, so we were not going to release them, but we made it a little bit down the list thinking that we were going to. But Gatewalkers #1, the new adventure path, which the first installment is the Seventh Arch, and then Fists of the Ruby Phoenix, which is the compiled edition of that. They are actually going live, and that will be tonight at midnight Pacific. So you will be able to get your hands on them on Pathfinder Nexus tonight, midnight Pacific. And then we are still working on Agents of Edgewatch when we are able to. We got pulled away a little bit this week, the game content team, with some additional work with the character tools that are currently in alpha, and transitioning to that now. We are working on spells. We're pretty close there, not quite in today's release, but we are. I definitely think that I'll be talking about spells, at least in some kind of update form, by next week. But we do have another build going out today that has several other changes that I will highlight more specifically here in a moment. We are continuing to work on the Vampire Nexus character tools. I love what I'm seeing. We are deep into all of the documentation. Again, this is very connected to what's going on with Pathfinder Nexus character tools, because Pathfinder is our pilot here, and as we are fine-tuning things there, the wonderful thing about the platform that we're setting up is that fine-tuning also helps for all the other games that we're going to support, and Vampire is next on our list to jump into. On the Alien RPG Nexus side, Destroyer of Worlds is very close, so I imagine we'll have an update, if not next week, by the dev update at some point next week. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about Destroyer of Worlds coming out. We are going to catch up everything on Alien Nexus here definitely within the next couple of months. So we're going to have all of the content available, including Chariot of the Gods, which is the starter set adventure module that we're getting in place as well. All right, let's jump into a little bit of an explanation because I saw a lot of confusion out there this week regarding something that is called Paizo Connect. So this is a great thing that Paizo offers. It is an API where we can come in and see what people own as far as PDFs on Paizo.com. And when we started Pathfinder Nexus, one of the things that we made sure that we put in place is, first of all, this is a really important thing. You got to connect your account. So we're going to talk about how to connect your account here in a few. But very importantly, any time that you unlock a source on Pathfinder Nexus, so if you go and you purchase the Lost Omens, let's do the Grand Bazaar. So we're going to do the because I started to say the World Guide, but I think a lot of people have been getting that free lately, which is great too from Paizo. But let's say the Grand Bazaar. So you're going to unlock the Grand Bazaar. You're going to buy that on Demiplane. And when you buy that on Demiplane, if you have your accounts connected, so you can do this after the fact too. So if you bought something on Demiplane and you haven't checked into this yet, you can still go connect your account. You're going to have to refresh it to get the connection in there after you connect. But once that is done, you are going to be able to unlock the PDF for that Pathfinder book on your Paizo.com account. So again, very importantly, every purchase on Pathfinder Nexus is going to unlock the corresponding PDF on Paizo.com as long as you have your accounts connected. So it's a really great deal. And then also, if you have been, buying Pathfinder 2e books for the last, couple of years that they have been in existence, and you are just coming to Pathfinder Nexus here on Demiplane, you are also able to connect your account, and we will be able to basically go out there and ping that API and figure out that you have those PDFs owned, and then we can give you a deep discount on the Demiplane version. So keep all of this in mind. If there's any more confusion, hopefully we can answer that in chat for you. But I think that, honestly, for the most part, the confusion that I have seen out there is people are just confused that there's something that is this sweet of a deal that actually exists, because this is not necessarily the standard out there. And this is a wonderful thing that Paizo does, and something that here at Demiplane, we are very happy to support this kind of approach. So it is in place. You go to your account settings, so that's going to be kind of your portrait menu up in the top right when you're anywhere in Demiplane. And once you go to that, you go to account settings. There's a sync accounts option, and then Paizo Connect. And you go through some instructions. I think you generate a code that you then go and apply on Paizo.com, but that will get that link in place. If you have any issues with that, feel free to hit us up in the forums or Discord, and we'll get things going. The other thing that I will say is Paizo Connect's been around for a little while, and sometimes there are some issues with it recognizing a PDF in a certain format versus the compiled edition, for instance, that we might have of an adventure path. Those are all known issues that we're trying to work with Paizo on with that. But also, in the meantime, note that if you ever run into those situations where you think there should be a discount coming that you're not getting, or any of those, our support team is always very, very happy to help. So keep all that in mind. We're trying to do a good thing here, and we're happy to jump in and help you out if something doesn't look right on that. All right, let's jump into the Character Tools Closed Alpha update notes here for today. So this is pending and coming a little bit later today. It is off in the early afternoon in the Central Time Zone, but if something goes wrong, it might not quite be there. But today we are pushing this out, and since the last release, we've updated the infrastructure for hundreds of different game elements. So game elements for us are class features, spells, items, all the different atomic pieces of the game engine and the game system that are all coming together to make your characters and to make things work on these character sheets and in the builder. So all of those elements that handle passing along bonuses, penalties, and notes across the character builder and sheet. So we've got the first large wave of those bonuses. So it's over 700 things that we're putting in place today. You see that we're adding 120 plus notes to items, feats, spells. These notes are going to end up appearing on the character sheet. This honestly is, I don't want to say it's the point, but it is a major point of having this digital character sheet is being able to see these notes at a glance. We always talk about when we're developing this that the important threshold to figure out is what information do you need to have at a glance and what information is a click or two away. And so we're constantly bringing that up. And what we try to do here is get the information that you need to see at a glance on the character sheet itself. And then once you click and you pull out sidebars, that's where we want you to be able to deep dive and have all the information you need. We're putting another layer into that, even with some of these notes, where when that sidebar opens, you're going to have the full text of whatever it is that you're looking at, but you'll also have some summarized notes that are going to help you kind of focus in on which places you need to deep dive on. So this is a big deal. More and more of this is going to be added over the course of the closed alpha before open beta. But the first big wave of this is happening today. You'll also see bonuses and, sometimes the few times the penalties come into play, you'll see some of that starting to be passed through to everything. So again, there's more to be done here, but we've done a big pass. And essentially what this means on the infrastructure side is we have hooked up a modifier. So we've got several things that we call modifiers in place that are the things that are actually doing the magic behind the scenes and making all these connections. And so we've got bonuses and penalties and notes modifiers that have now been properly hooked up. So you're going to see those changes coming into place. And you can see the specifics here. And we go one more, a whole other screen of this. So lots and lots of changes here that are happening. 30 plus instances where attack rolls need to be penalized. So all of those things are going to start coming through. And I won't read everything in the update notes, but we will have those out once the release goes out a little bit later today, and you can read all about it. As always, thank you for your help here in the closed alpha. Many of the things that have been reported are, of course, things that are on our list and are known, but they definitely, it helps us when you provide that feedback. It helps us to understand, the prioritization behind working through some of these things. And then, as we said at the start of the alpha, really what we're looking for is that directional and impressional feedback. And we love what we're hearing there. It helped us to confirm that the direction we're heading in is the right direction. We do not expect to put this digital character sheet out and then have to do a major rework that takes 9 months to get a new one in place after it. And I've lived through that before, and that's not what we want to do. So with this approach that we're taking, it's been very essential to get this early feedback, and it has validated the direction and the approach that we're taking. So very excited about that. We're going to keep trucking along. Expect that update a little later today. All right, giveaway time. Giveaway time. You probably have already been doing this in chat, and that's great. Thanks for that participation. But hashtag epic loot, and we are going to be drawing a winner of an ultimate bundle for Vampire Nexus. And this is great stuff. So if you have not played Vampire before, this would be a wonderful way to get your feet wet. Bloody wet blood running on the streets. But yeah, it's an awesome game. I played it for many years. Love 5th edition, and good luck on winning the Vampire Ultimate Bundle. I wish all of you could win. That's just not how it works. All right, upcoming Next on deck, so for the character tools closed alpha, as I mentioned, we're working through spells right now, so a lot of complexity there, but we're making very good headway on what's happening there. We're going to continue to cover new books, so the team is also working through. We prioritized rule books content. We're working through Lost Omens content right now. You're going to continue to see more and more of that content become available in the closed alpha. We are starting to look at companions and familiars next after spells. And then homebrew, of course, is a major big piece that is going to come a little bit later, but it's such a big piece that is so important that we're looking at it already and we're starting to conceptualize everything that's happening there. On the Pathfinder side, nothing has actually changed in the game content roadmap. As of this point, we did have one thing drop in last week that unfortunately, I hate to be a tease, but unfortunately we can't talk about it yet. But here within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to talk about that. So the team is working on everything in the order that you're seeing there, in addition to a little drop in that happened a couple of weeks ago that will be a good thing that we will share with you before too much longer as well. All right. I think I got through all of that. I'm going to jump into questions earlier than normal. So if you've got those questions, feel free to ask them now. We'll get to as many as as we possibly can. Riza Malima. Oh, my favorite question. We're just going to kick off right off with this current favorite dinosaur. That is going to be. I was reading a whole lot about Dreadnoughtus actually yesterday. And so I think since that is on my mind, I'm going to go with that today. So that is my final answer for today. I always have loved the giant four leggers with the giant long necks. I remember the scene with the Brachiosaurus in Jurassic Park when I was 12 years old in the theater, and it blew me away so much. And so yeah, today it's Dreadnoughtus is what we're going with. All right. Lynn Carius, after spells, what's next for the character test? I do want to expand what I just mentioned a little bit there. We are working on many different things at once. And so I'm going to kind of scope this question down to after spells, what is next from kind of what we categorize as a feature standpoint, because we're working on content and fixes and performance updates. So I think by the next time, not today, but then the next big release that we're going to see, there will be another pass of performance updates that's going to make everything, run much better than it currently is out there. As we mentioned at the start of closed alpha, we haven't even looked at performance at that point. So we've done one pass of low hanging fruit on performance. We're doing another pass that is refining that a bit more, and we will keep doing as many passes on performance as we need to get it to an acceptable level. And we fully recognize that it is not at an acceptable level right now because that has not been our focus. But so there's work on performance updates. There's work on getting more and more content added. There's work going on that is hooking that content up with the modifiers I mentioned earlier. But as far as features go, then companions and familiars are the next thing that we would be looking at past spells. All right, let's see. Lothos. Will we be able to buy parts of books like items, ancestries, or classes, etc.? That is something that we have planned. It's not something that um, we are likely to see during the closed alpha. It's something that we definitely intend to get to, but it's not on the shortest term roadmap. But it is something that, we intend to get there, and we haven't quite worked out exactly when that's going to fit in yet. So again, definitely coming, not something that is going to happen likely during the closed alpha period. Butter Droid, why release at midnight? Doesn't that make firefighting last minute issues harder? That's a great question. And I think that I will answer that by explaining how kind of some of our processes work. So first of all, releasing a book at this point is a pretty operational task for us. We've done it for 100 books. Getting close to 100 books anyway at this point, and so this is about as close to ritual and routine of a process as we can get to at this point. So definitely don't expect technical issues when it comes to releasing a book. And then the other thing is because of the driving fan need to have something the moment that it is available for release. And so we try to always honor that. And so in the case of Paizo's releases, the digital can go live at midnight Pacific. And so we are always going to be committed to having that content out the moment that it can be out for people to get their hands on it. Again, it's kind of a thing that we are trying to do for the fans out there, but it's also a process that we have refined to a point where we do not expect technical issues. The other thing that I will very transparently share with you is if something did go wrong, for instance, if something, one of the pages wasn't loading properly or anything else. Typically, those kinds of things, our team will be able to jump on first thing and address those things before anyone else even wakes up. On the West Coast at least, and so for us, the pros of getting this out to people and letting them access the content and read the content and figure out what's happening in the new adventure path, as early as possible. Those outweigh any potential cons of those kinds of issues that might come through. Because again, at this point, first of all, those issues are very minimized. Second of all, the team responds and reacts to those issues so quickly at this point that we think it's better to get this out into hands instead of holding off and making sure that everything is completely buttoned up. Because again, I think at this point when we first started doing this, we're probably 85% or so on that, and now we're definitely high 90s with no issues really being detected because it has become so much of a ritual for us. But excellent question. Dagament, what would it take to get you on Team Waffles? Yeah, that's yeah, I don't even know, to be honest. I just don't think that I could get there. I think that over the years, Waffles have demonstrated themselves to be relatively inflexible, relatively kind of hard. I don't want to go with calloused because that's kind of gross, but they're definitely too firm, too rigid, at least in comparison to pancakes. And so I don't know if I could get there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I wouldn't eat a waffle. I will definitely eat many things, but if I'm having a choice, it's going to be the pancake. All right, Charm Quark. Federated logins make me nervous. Could you speak about how credentials are stored at Demiplane? So I'm not the best person to do this, but we are using tried and true standards out there. So Demiplane is not doing anything that is we are not making this on our side. We are plugging into what the OAuth standards are out there, and so there should be a great deal of confidence that anywhere you're using a Google account and Twitch accounts and all those kind of things, there is an industry standard that has been established. We are fully plugging into all of those things. We're not doing anything custom on our side that would make that riskier or anything else like that. It's going to be the standard that you see out there in many places. If there are more specific questions about that, then we can definitely get somebody on our technical team to explain that a little bit more. They're going to be able to do it in far better than I would be able to. but this is going to be along the lines of everything that you're seeing in a lot of those other places. And of course, Demiplane accounts themselves are already safe and secure. No PII is shared. We're following all of those standards as well. And federated login for us is just another option that comes into play, alongside of that. Very Athos, what has to be done to get a Pathfinder 1E Nexus? Yeah, I mean, I guess the best thing I can say is we've just got to validate the demand for it out there. So we've definitely seen some people saying that they would like to see a Pathfinder 1E Nexus, but at this stage, we do not have enough of those individuals. And also, by the way, we're not just listening to people on the internet shouting for things that they want. Like, we have other ways that we're also because shouting on the internet is definitely one of the inputs that we use. But there are other ways that we validate that demand, and so far we haven't seen enough to put that on the short term roadmap or the medium term roadmap anyway. That's not to say that it couldn't be on the long term roadmap, and we reserve the right to change our minds about that and the priority on that. So if anything changes out there and we see that Pathfinder 1E is going to, we would be able to super serve a large number of fans doing that, it's something that we would move into. But right now we are trying to prioritize based on the kind of impact that we can have for the most fans of people who play games in this industry, and our roadmap has been determined based on that. But again, if Pathfinder First Edition happens to start climbing up those ranks, it would be something that we absolutely would pivot to. The 8-bit deity, when do you hope to open the next wave of closed alpha participants? We had a conversation about this yesterday, and I believe that where we came down on that was at some point, not this week, but next week, I believe is what we're looking at. The way that the waves work, we don't broadcast exactly when that's going to happen, because, by the way, that could change. Like, we might not do it next week. Things can absolutely change. But our most recent conversation targeted that. The way that the waves work is, there are a couple of sides to what goes on with the wave. So first of all, we will invite other, alpha invites in, because we're seeing people that are really, really wanting to get in and asking to get in. So naturally, we want to give people what they want as much as we can. But there is another side to this that we already have a ton of feedback that's coming in. We're definitely at a point where we are trying to parse and review that feedback and make sure that we're categorizing it in the right way for when we start to address some of the issues that are coming up, when we start to get to the things that are on our list, that we are doing this in a very mindful, intentional way. And so we want to make sure that the feedback that's coming in, that we are, parsing it and reviewing it in the right way. So as we add new individuals into the alpha, that increases the amount of feedback. And so sometimes we hold off on adding another wave because we are trying to make sure that we're catching up on and considering all of the feedback that's coming in. And when we feel like we've got a handle on that, we might add additional people, because that in turn brings an entirely new wave of individuals who are providing feedback. And that influx of feedback is also another factor in what we're doing. That if our community team is tied up with some other things for a particular week, then we might not introduce a new wave, because then that is just asking for more people to come in for us to then make sure that we are engaging, because we don't want anybody that is in the alpha to feel like you're not being heard, that your feedback is not being taken seriously. And so for us, the reason that the waves are so fluid is because we are making sure that we are going about collecting this feedback in the right way, and that we're not just kind of stranding people out there and not engaging them. And so that means that, again, latest conversation that we just had, right now the target is next week because we believe that that kind of opens up. But even just on a personal note, I think it's next Wednesday. We were talking about doing it next Wednesday, but then next Wednesday, both of my sons have a birthday, and I will be out of town doing some kind of Stranger Things experience. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. So, we're not going to end up doing the wave on that day because I'm going to be completely out of pocket, and I like to be able to be there and engage when new invitees come into the alpha, right? And so those are all the kinds of considerations that we have in place. So we're not just withholding it because we don't want you to get in. There are those factors on our side that we're trying to make sure that we are administering the alpha in the best way that we can to make sure that we're taking all the feedback as seriously and as kind of purposefully and intentional as we can. Let's see, Ordnav 3, probably been asked before, but is the plan to work on Encounter Builder after finishing the character tools? That is a prevailing thought at the moment, anyway. That's not to say that there couldn't be something else that changes that prioritization, but I can share that we absolutely intend to provide encounter based tools in the future, and character tools. Character tools um, round out the three core features that we intended to set out with at full launch. So that's the digital reader, the game compendium, and these character tools. We definitely have other tools past that that are encounter campaign based. We want to do a relationship map for vampire. So there are many other tools that we are looking at doing, and there might, some of those might come in different order of priority, but right now I would say that looking ahead into encounter tools that can make that part of things more convenient would definitely be the thing that seems to be floating at the top of the list. Saint Dormitius, you mentioned spells being worked on for the PF2 character builder, but will potions for alchemists be coming soon as well? That's a great question. So formulas and all of those things are things that we are. Those are things that have to come after spells, because some of the UI components and kind of just the way that we're doing the interface for that is going to flow from similarity with spells. I know that they're not the same mechanics, but again, from a UI perspective, we're doing that. So yes, spells would come in place, and then things that alchemists would need and all of that would be something that would come after that. So I was trying to think through exactly what that might mean. I don't want to include it in the spells part because we're going to keep releasing things as spells gets ready. We're going to keep releasing things for spells in these builds that we're doing a couple of times a week. But yeah, it's whether you consider it tacked on to the end of that or a wholly separate thing. It's definitely going to be flow from the work that is going on with spells. So it's coming. Lucky Charm Quart, what feature of Pathfinder have you found the most challenging getting into the Demiplane code? Wow, that's a good question. And honestly, I think we just had our answers. So I remember in the past life, I used to just warlocks. Warlocks caused a lot of problems. Alchemists are certainly a little more bespoke than other things. We've had to keep our eye. You definitely should watch out for this treasure vault that's coming out. If you're an alchemist, it's going to be a great book for you. And so we're definitely keeping an eye on all those things. And so honestly, Pathfinder 2e has a very good internal engine for what's going on, the way traits work, and all of these things. So much of it has been pretty systemic and pretty easy to bring to life. But again, just from a uniqueness standpoint, I would say alchemists probably have caused the most grief, if we can call it that. And that's one of the reasons that they will be supported in kind of one of the last waves of that support, but definitely still supporting them in over the course of the alpha and everything else. But if I had to answer, I'd probably say alchemist. All right, let's see. Uh, K Malsum, any thoughts on being able to allow third-party publishers to input their own products to expand the available content? Thinking how Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds enable companies to create modules. Definitely something that we are interested in. I was on a mission to do that in my past life, and it never. The door kept getting closed. I think that we're going to be successful in opening that door for what we're doing here on Demiplane. So no details to share on that yet, but we understand the value of third-party publishers, of individual creators, and we are going to definitely support that as we go forward. All right, let's see. To make sure that I get to the really meaty questions here, I'm going to skip through a few pancake or dinosaur related things. But if I have time, I'll come back to them. Commander Rokusai. Sorry if I'm taking liberties there. Is there going to be a VTT integration for Foundry and such to be able to import your characters? I, I mean, the short answer is yes. Like there will be. Exactly what form that will take, time will tell. We have had many people reaching out to us who are community developers that are interested in helping there. And so, at the end of the day, we welcome that kind of interest, and we're going to be reviewing what the best options are. But yes, there is definitely a future where you can create characters on Pathfinder Nexus, and then be able to use those characters and import those characters into your VTT of choice. It's definitely something that we're working towards. We just don't know exactly which approach we're going to use that for that yet. We're going to kind of make sure that we're emphasizing the approach that is the easiest for people out there. So we're going to be working on that, and we'll share more as we get closer there. Anchor 89, would a change org position help get 1E on the roadmap? I would not go there necessarily, because of the way that we've got some really statistics based employees here at the company, and I think that the usefulness and the uses for petitions are probably a different kind of use case than what we're talking about here. Because, as I said, we've got inputs that are coming from a variety of different ways, and one of those inputs is just market data. So how popular first edition currently is out there, how much it is selling, all of those kind of things. So those are the data points that are definitely going to stake a lot of weight out there. But again, anybody can do anything that they want to with a petition. And so if you want to try to garner support, that's totally fine too. And it is, again, an input that we would use to make those considerations. But there are a variety of factors at play when it comes to that. Another factor is active development. So at the moment there is not active development on Pathfinder First Edition, and so these are all considerations that would come into play for those decisions. And also, I want to be clear: I'm not saying that First Edition isn't going to happen. It absolutely could happen at some point, but we have Pathfinder, and we have Vampire, and we have Hunter, and we have Alien, and we have Avatar Legends, and we have Marvel Multiverse, and I'm sure I'm forgetting Mutineer Zero, and I'm going to have to stop there because I'm going to start saying things that we haven't publicly announced yet. So we have many, many games that are coming to Demiplane, and those are taking the priority at the moment over Pathfinder First Edition, or at the moment even Starfinder. But that's not to say, definitely not to say that Starfinder is not going to happen, and not to say that First Edition might not happen at some point too. All right. Cato Flex. Hi, Adam. Any Claw Firm news? Not yet. No Claw Firm news. But I do expect we will have some news before too much longer. We're in post production right now on it. We have we have a lot of fun going on with Sirenscape with that show right now. So Sirenscape is doing something pretty special for it. And so that is what is in progress right now, but we'll have more news for sure this quarter. You will definitely hear this quarter, what is going on with the Claw Firm, and you'll get a release date and everything else. Let's see. Okay, I think most of the rest of what I see are duplicates, except for let's play into this. Anchor 89 Fishblade, is it coming this year? So I genuinely was completely lost as a goose. I guess it was Saturday or something, and I'm just waking up to. I was sorting a whole lot of comic books. Like I think well over 1,000 comic books. I finally got everything put up, and then I wasn't online at all. And went to bed that day. Woke up the next morning. I'm at lunch with my son, and then I see all this Fishblade stuff, and I genuinely had no clue what was even going on. Very, very confusing moment for me because again, I guess I just don't have my finger on the pulse. But Fishblade looks like it has become legendary in a very short amount of time. And just like I've said with other things, I will never say never. We'll see what ends up coming of Fishblade, and if Fishblade becomes a huge game out there and fans flock to it, then you better believe that Demiplane is interested in bringing digital support to the greatest games out there. And if Fishblade joins those ranks, then we will be there with Nexus Digital tools to support it. All right, I think that is all we've got for today. I appreciate all the questions. Congratulations to our winner of the Vampire Ultimate Bundle, whoever you are out there. I hope that you, really, really enjoy embracing the night out there. And we've got a new episode of Children of Erte tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. Things are getting really tense and really good on that show. So definitely join us for that. Otherwise, I will see you here next week. Have a great one. Later, Gators.